As we enter our 50s and beyond, life begins to look different. The days seem to pass more quickly, and we often find ourselves looking back just as much as we look forward. We've weathered storms, celebrated milestones, and faced challenges we never imagined in our younger years. But in this season of life, there's a powerful tool that can transform our physical health, our mental well-being, and even our relationships. A tool that's free, available to all of us, and more potent than many realize. That tool is gratitude. Now, you may have heard the advice to be grateful so many times that it sounds like a cliché. But I'm not here to talk about simply saying thank you out of habit. I'm talking about cultivating a deep, intentional practice of gratitude, one that changes the way you see the world, how you respond to life's challenges, and even how your body functions. Science has shown us that gratitude can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, improve sleep quality, and boost immune function. For people over 50, these are not small benefits. They can mean the difference between living with constant fatigue and pain or waking up each morning with energy and purpose. But beyond the science, there's the human side of gratitude. I think of Margaret, a 62-year-old woman I met at a community health workshop. She had spent years caring for her ailing mother, and by the time her mother passed, Margaret was emotionally exhausted, feeling like life had passed her by. She told me she was bitter, angry about the sacrifices she had made, and resentful that she was alone. We began to talk about gratitude, not as a vague idea, but as a daily, intentional act. At first, she resisted. "What do I have to be grateful for?" she asked. And that's a question many of us might feel in moments of loss or hardship. But she agreed to try something small. Every evening, before bed, she would write down 3 things, no matter how small, that she appreciated from the day. The first week, her list was short and strained: a good cup of coffee, a neighbor waving hello, a comfortable chair by the window. But over time, she noticed something shifting. She began to spot moments during the day that she wanted to capture in her journal: sunlight streaming through her kitchen window, a conversation with her niece, the sound of rain at night. Her brain was slowly training itself to look for the good, rather than dwell on the disappointments. Within a month, Margaret's sleep improved. She started walking each morning, not out of obligation, but because she wanted to enjoy the fresh air. She reached out to old friends, and even joined a local book club. All of these changes began with a decision to notice and appreciate the good. And here's the truth: gratitude is not about ignoring the hard parts of life or pretending that everything is fine. It's about holding both the joys and the struggles in our hands, and choosing to give more attention to the moments that nourish us. You see, our brains are wired with something psychologists call the negativity bias. This means we naturally focus more on problems, dangers, and setbacks than on positive events. It's an ancient survival mechanism, but in today's world, it can keep us stuck in worry and dissatisfaction. Gratitude rewires that bias. Each time you intentionally focus on what's going right, you're strengthening neural pathways that help you feel more optimistic, more resilient, and more content. And that's not just feel-good talk. It's backed by brain imaging studies that show increased activity in areas related to empathy and emotional regulation when people practice gratitude regularly. So how can you start? One of the simplest ways is to make gratitude a daily ritual. You might keep a small notebook by your bed, or use your phone's notes app if that's easier. At the same time each day, morning or evening, pause and write down 3 specific things you're grateful for. The key word here is specific. Instead of "I'm grateful for my health," try "I'm grateful I could walk to the park today without knee pain." Instead of "I'm grateful for my family," try "I'm grateful for the laugh I shared with my grandson over breakfast." Specificity makes the feeling more real and more powerful. Another way is to weave gratitude into your conversations. When a friend calls, instead of jumping straight into complaints about the weather or the news, start by sharing something you've appreciated recently. It's amazing how that small shift can lift both your mood and theirs. When we start practicing gratitude regularly, something beautiful happens. It spills over into the way we see other people. After 50, many of us notice that our social circles may shrink. Friends move away, loved ones pass on. And it's easy to feel isolated, but gratitude can act like a bridge, reconnecting us to others in ways that are deeply fulfilling. I think of John, a retired firefighter in his late 50s, who once told me that he felt invisible after leaving his job for decades. His identity was tied to serving his community in a very visible way. After retirement, he missed the camaraderie, the sense of being needed. We talked about using gratitude, not only as a private practice but as a social one, actually telling people the specific ways we value them. John decided to start small. Each week, he reached out to one person from his past, an old colleague, a neighbor, a former teammate, and told them something he appreciated about their role in his life. Some conversations were short, others turned into long visits over coffee. But each one reignited a sense of connection. Gratitude, it turns out, doesn't just change how we feel, it changes how others feel about us and how they respond to us. In fact, research shows that expressing genuine gratitude strengthens bonds, increases trust, and even encourages others to pay that gratitude forward. It creates a ripple effect where kindness and appreciation travel farther than we imagine. Beyond relationships, gratitude can also be a powerful ally for our mental health. Depression and anxiety are not uncommon after 50, especially during life transitions like retirement, empty nest syndrome, or dealing with chronic illness. While gratitude is not a replacement for medical care or therapy, it can be a complementary practice that helps shift our emotional baseline toward hope and resilience. When we train ourselves to notice and appreciate what's good, we build a mental reservoir we can draw from in difficult times. Think of it like a savings account of positive emotions. When life hands you a challenge, you have something to withdraw. A practical tip I often share is to create a gratitude jar. Find a simple jar or box, and each day, write down one thing you're grateful for on a slip of paper. Over time, the jar fills up with reminders of beauty, kindness, and small victories. On tough days, you can reach in and pull out a note to remind yourself that life has not been only hardship, it has had moments worth celebrating. And it's not just our minds that benefit. Gratitude can influence our bodies in tangible ways. Studies have found that people who practice gratitude regularly have lower levels of inflammation, a key factor in many age-related diseases. They also tend to have better sleep quality, which in turn supports immune function, energy levels, and mood stability. For those of us navigating the physical changes of aging, these are real and meaningful benefits. But perhaps one of the most overlooked gifts of gratitude is how it helps us savor the present moment. So much of life is spent chasing the next goal, worrying about the next problem, or dwelling on the past. Gratitude pulls us back into the now, reminding us that even in the middle of challenges, there are moments of peace and beauty to be found. I once worked with a group of women in their 70s who met weekly to walk together in the park. At first, they talked about typical topics: family updates, health concerns, the weather. But then, as part of a health program, I invited them to start each walk by naming one thing they appreciated that morning. It could be the way the sun felt on their skin, the song of a bird, the smile of a passerby. Over time, they noticed that they weren't just walking for exercise anymore, they were walking for joy, for connection, for the shared experience of noticing life's details together. Gratitude turned an ordinary routine into a ritual of meaning. And that's the thing, gratitude doesn't require big changes or perfect circumstances. It's about finding the good in what's already here. Even when we're facing illness, financial stress, or loss, there's often something, however small, that can bring a spark of light into the day. And when we choose to see it, name it, and hold on to it, we're training our hearts and minds to live with more peace and purpose. As we embrace gratitude more fully, we start to notice something profound. It's not just about feeling good in the moment, it's about reshaping the story we tell ourselves about our lives. After 50, we carry decades of experiences, both joyful and painful. Gratitude invites us to revisit that story with a gentler lens. It allows us to see that even the hardest chapters often held hidden blessings, the friends who showed up when we were struggling, the resilience we discovered in ourselves, the lessons that shaped who we are today. This shift in perspective can be deeply healing. I once met a man named Carlos who had lost his wife unexpectedly in his early 60s. For months, his life felt colorless. But during a grief support group, he began keeping a gratitude journal, not to erase his grief, but to honor the love they shared. Each day, he wrote down one memory he was grateful for, from the way she laughed at his corny jokes to the meals they cooked together. Over time, those memories became a source of comfort rather than only pain. Gratitude didn't take away his loss, but it helped him carry it with more lightness and less bitterness. And that's the truth. Gratitude doesn't mean ignoring what's wrong. It means choosing not to let pain be the only voice in the room. As we practice, gratitude starts to anchor us in a deeper sense of meaning. We begin to understand that even on difficult days, life can still offer moments worth noticing. This is where gratitude becomes a spiritual practice for many people. Whether or not you consider yourself religious, there's something sacred about pausing to appreciate the gift of breath, the warmth of sunlight, or the kindness of a stranger. For those of us over 50, this awareness can be especially powerful. It's a reminder that while we may not control the number of years ahead, we can shape the quality of the days we have. And when we fill those days with gratitude, we often find they feel richer, more vibrant, and more connected to the people around us. If you're wondering how to deepen your own practice, here's a suggestion. Try weaving gratitude into the first and last moments of your day. In the morning, before you reach for your phone or think about your to-do list, take a few slow breaths and name one thing you're looking forward to or thankful for. At night, reflect on one moment from the day that made you smile or brought you peace. These simple bookends can change the tone of your entire day. Another powerful exercise is writing a gratitude letter. Think of someone who has made a difference in your life, maybe a teacher, a mentor, a friend, or even a family member, and write them a letter explaining exactly what they did and how it impacted you. You don't have to send it, though I encourage you to if you can. People are often deeply moved to know they've made a difference, and the act of writing it can bring you an unexpected wave of joy and appreciation. As you continue this journey, you might be surprised at the ripple effects. You'll notice you complain less, that you're more patient with others, and that your mind feels less cluttered with worries. You'll find yourself savoring ordinary moments, a shared laugh, a warm meal, the feeling of your feet in the grass as if they were treasures, and perhaps most importantly, gratitude can help us leave a legacy of love. Imagine the younger generations in your family seeing you not as someone who dwells on what's missing, but as someone who celebrates what's here. That example can be a gift that outlives us, inspiring others to live with more appreciation and kindness. So as we move through this chapter of life, let's remember, gratitude is not just an emotion, it's a practice, a choice we make, again and again, to see the good, to honor the blessings, and to share them with others. And when we do, we're not only improving our health and happiness, we're enriching the lives of everyone around us. So tonight, as you settle into bed, I invite you to pause. Think of one thing, just one, that you're grateful for today. Hold it in your heart, let it warm you from the inside out, and carry that feeling into tomorrow. Because at any age, but especially after 50, gratitude is one of the most powerful medicines we have, and the best part is, it's always within reach.